War. War never changes, and for the Fallout community, that might be a good thing, because in general, they hate change. From moving on beyond the original isometric viewpoint of the original Fallout games, to leaving behind the West Coast settings, there has generally been a pretty good gnashing of teeth whenever the Fallout series makes a big shift. That's been especially true with Fallout 76, as details have emerged revealing that it is in fact going to be the first fully multiplayer Fallout game. I, however, remain quite excited for it. Now, you guys that have been around my channel won't be too surprised by this. This is a pretty optimistic channel. I like to cover things that I'm actually excited about and enjoy. And today, I want to lay out for you guys why I genuinely think that you should be excited about Fallout 76 as well. Bethesda is promising that they're designing Fallout 76 for all types of Fallout players. If you want a single-player style experience, this game will be for you. If you want a co-op experience, this game will offer that as well. And if you are absolutely just super excited for just the multiplayer elements, well, this is going to be the game for you as well, according to Bethesda. Also, for you guys that have been following my RangerDave custom lore and settlement building over the last couple of years, I'll talk a little bit at the end of this video for you guys about my own personal plans for Fallout 76. I know that a lot of you guys have been asking about that. For now, let's talk about some of those reasons to get excited for the game, and I will be covering a couple of my worries as well mixed in here. I'll also have some thoughts later on in the video about how the community might shift as the game ages, and why you might want to make sure that you get in on the ground floor, at least in the beta, to try the game out, because of how the community might shift as time goes on. More on that later. First things first, let's talk about some of the stuff that I am really excited for, and perhaps why you ought to be excited about this stuff too. I think for yet another Fallout game, Bethesda is actually really hitting a home run here on choosing a location. Washington, D.C. in Fallout 3 was a fantastic first location for the East Coast Bethesda games, and then I think Boston really had its own unique charm, even if the main quest in Fallout 4 didn't live up to the potential there. But Appalachia is something near and dear to me because, well, I technically live in the Appalachian region. And honestly guys, that alone would be enough to get me very, very excited about this game. This part of the country really is home for me, and I'm still kind of shocked that Appalachia is the setting for the game. There's just so many unique parts of the region, and especially where we're focusing for Fallout 76 at the launch period, which is West Virginia. There's so many unique parts of the mountains and the culture here, and just an absolutely beautiful landscape that I can't wait to explore in one of my favorite alternate history universes, the Fallout universe. I love this region so much that I've created an actual map called Appalachia for city skylines. I think actually 2 of them that you could play. And even designed some battlefield maps for some older map making contests based around the Appalachian region. It's just really neat to see a AAA developer picking up this kind of overlooked part of the country and putting it right there in the limelight. And to see them participating with local festivals and getting the local West Virginia communities excited about the launch of the game is also really neat to see. Because Fallout 76 is listed as a ongoing game that will have live updates over its life cycle, there's also a possibility that we're going to see things outside of West Virginia as the game continues along. The Appalachian Mountains cover a large amount of the southeast United States, and I think that there's just, again, so much potential there, even outside of that West Virginia area, to keep on exploring and keep on expanding the content in really interesting and new ways. To see the additional graphics treatments that are being given to make this area shine is also really exciting. The greatly extended map size, but also the greatly extended view distance, something that modders have always tried to push to the limit in Bethesda's games, is going to be a part of the game right there at launch. You're going to be able to crest a hilltop and see further than you've ever been able to, and it's just going to look better at a distance, even to the point of those storms and weather changes actually being visible on the horizon as they head towards you. The world is going to feel so much more alive and just so much bigger on top of this really unique setting. Beyond the setting and the visual improvements, as someone who spent literally thousands of hours creating incredibly complicated custom settlements in Fallout 4, I am so excited to see that settlement building will once again be a part of the next Fallout title. I know that not everyone is into the settlement building, but I found it a huge creative outlet to create my own personal character's storyline with rebuilding in the apocalypse, and seeing that a huge theme here in Fallout 76 is going to be rebuilding America, which is a big theme that I use in Fallout 4, I'm excited to see what new opportunities we're going to have in multiplayer to actually rebuild the wasteland. I'll mention here that one of the downsides in Fallout 76 is that modding most likely will not be in at launch, and that was a huge part of making the settlement building in Fallout 4 much deeper. That just required modding to expand the build options and to expand what you could build. We have been told that modding is coming, but I wouldn't say that that's going to be something that's going to happen very quickly after launch. I imagine that Bethesda is going to want to really lock down the core game before they start letting people tinker under the hood. So I really hope that Bethesda puts additional creation tools into the camp settlement system in Fallout 76 to give us more options for how we place objects, how we build objects, and really just open things up in the core game and give us more things to do with the settlement building until we get modding. It's also great to hear that Fallout's take on the base building system, the camp, is going to involve packing your camp up once you log off and your game session is complete. I was a bit conflicted on this news initially because a huge part of the tension in the original DayZ game was that the camp that you and your friends had spent hours upon hours building could be looted and stripped clean of all of your vehicles and equipment while you were offline. Now, it might just be because I'm older now and I don't have 12 hours a day that I can throw away on the weekends to maintain a base, but it's great to hear that your base does get packed up with you, because Fallout 76 isn't going for that hardcore survival multiplayer gameplay like DayZ was. It's going to be a more user-friendly version, where it is focusing more on the co-op versus the PvP, and I think that just being able to pack your camp up is an acceptable balance for that style of game. Besides, once modding comes along, we could have hardcore servers where your camp does get left behind, but for now, I prefer the comfort of knowing, as we step into this new style of Fallout game, that my creations that I might be spending hours building are going to be safe once I log off. Settlements will also be very easy to repair, even if they're attacked while you're in-game. Bethesda has clearly stated that the repair option will be both cheap and very, very easy to accomplish. They don't want you losing your creation in PvP, at least not long-term. I also think that the ability to safeguard your camp when you log out will encourage people to put those extra hours into building something that is unique and interesting. Again, going back to the DayZ example, we were building a camp that was just for storage. It looked cool, but that was really more because it was a side effect of the functionality of the camp. If in DayZ we could have built all the decorative items that you can in Fallout, we probably never would have, because we would know that someone's just going to come along at some point for sure and destroy it all. Finally, let's go over the multiplayer aspect as a whole, because this is again where most people are getting hung up just right from the start. The fact that this is going to be a completely multiplayer Fallout game, and that while private servers will be available at some point, a lot of people just don't want other people in their Fallout game. And I completely understand that. I know that I've created my own lore again in my Fallout 4 playthrough, and I wouldn't necessarily want other people running around inside of that world. On the other hand, we already have a ton of single-player Fallout games, and I'm willing to let Bethesda take this one and try something new. I've always wished for the ability to play one of the single-player Fallout games in a co-op mode, and this is basically the next best thing. If Bethesda's overall gameplay designs actually pan out here, it could be even better than co-op, where especially here at the beginning of the game's life cycle, player encounters could possibly add a lot to the game. People have already talked about all of the ridiculous possibilities for your Call of Duty style gamer tags with, triple X, Zombie Slayer, coming along to massacre your settlements, but what we're not really talking about is all of the possibilities of cooperation, even with strangers. Again, going back to the early days of the DayZ mod, the cooperation in the first few months of that game was just inspirational to see. You had complete strangers that were meeting up and building camps together and going on rescue missions and creating their own quests in an open world that really didn't support any other kind of quests. It was just your own imagination that you had to use to come up with what you did in that original DayZ mod. But here in Fallout 76, we could end up with that same sense of community, but with a more organized quest system and more things to actually do in the game world. That's an incredibly exciting opportunity in my opinion, and I can't wait to see what Bethesda has set up for us in the actual beta to not only PvP, but to cooperate together. And I think that, again, especially right at the beginning, there is going to be a lot of that. So I would encourage you guys, if you are at all interested in this game, it might be worth pre-ordering just for that initial beta experience so you can get an idea of what that cooperation might be like there at the start. If Fallout 76 is anything like DayZ's lifecycle and other survival games that I have played, as time goes on, that cooperation might dip, and you might see much more hostile player encounters. So if cooperation is more of your thing, like I said, you might want to try the game early, especially in the beta, to get that initial cooperative experience. Who knows though, the Fallout community might just prove me wrong there. On the other hand, PvP can be an addition as well. I know some people don't want to hear that, but having an additional player threat does add a lot of tension and danger to the game. Generally speaking, the newer Fallout games have become quite easy as you level up, so the chance of a player encounter could add an extra level of just extreme difficulty and tension on top of the game. And I think that Bethesda is working very hard to make that an addition to the game and not something that is weighing it down. And at this point, I'm willing to trust them that they're going to figure out a good way to make it work. That combination, the possible PvP danger, with real player cooperation could be something really special, as you combine it all together here in the Fallout universe and this fantastic new setting in Appalachia. So guys, there you have it. It's pretty straightforward, but that's why I am genuinely excited for Fallout 76 and why I'm willing to give Bethesda a chance and see what they come up with here. For you guys on my channel specifically, what are my plans for Fallout 76? What is RangerDave going to do now that he's going back in time? Well, the plans are still just an outline right now, but I would like to do perhaps a DayZ inspired series like my DayZ Survivor Diaries, where it's a bit of nicely edited, story inspired content where perhaps me and Joel and a few other members of the Casual Shenanigans gaming crew are going to go out and create kind of a linear story as we explore this world for the first time. That is one of the projects that I would like to look at doing once the game hits beta. I am going to be diving in as soon as it's available. Beyond that, it would be fun to have a perhaps community server where everyone can cooperate and work together and perhaps fight it out occasionally as well. Once private servers are available and we know more about them, I am going to be looking into some kind of community focused something like that. It's really all up in the air right now, and I can't wait to get my hands on the game and see what possibilities we're going to have here. Unfortunately, I was not invited to the Fallout 76 preview event, but if you guys know which palms to grease to get into the next one, be sure to let me know down in the comments. And also let me know if you are also excited for Fallout 76, and if you weren't, perhaps if this video might have changed your mind. It's just my opinion, but it is my authentic opinion, and I appreciate you guys taking the time to watch it. I'll see you all next time.